All right, you guys, welcome back to the Beauty Breakdown podcast. We have an incredibly special guest with us today. I cannot wait to announce her. But before that, let me just tell you a little bit about her. Well, first of all, she's a hairstylist, my kind of person. She is in Chandler, Arizona, and also has some really cool plans. She's transitioned a lot through her career, and I'm very excited to talk to you guys about that. Without further ado, we're gonna bring Miss Becky Miller on, owner of the Parlor One Salon.
Hey guys, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You guys are gonna be mind blown with the things that she has to talk to us about. So let's get a little bit into your career. Just take us on a brief journey through, have you been commissioned? Have you had a salon? Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. I've done hair about 13 years now. I've worked for mainly commission-based salons. Just recently stepped out on my own. I now have a couple girls that are with me that sublease from me, and we have plans in the next year and a half to open up a commission-based salon.
Yes, and that was one of the topics we wanted to talk to you guys about today was commission salons. So both of us have a really similar journey, which I think is super cool. So we've both been, started out commission salons, which I think is so valuable, right?
Absolutely.
When you first start out, I think making sure that you have that mentor and that training program is so important. And then after that, both went out on our own, independent. Is this your first suite?
Yep.
Okay.
It is. Yep, our first one.
Your first one. And then how long ago was it that you started that?
January we moved in to this space. So
January.
So this year, so in like 6 months.
So this is brand spanking new, and the ladies in there are already just absolutely crushing it. I mean, how far booked out are you guys?
Oh gosh, a few months.
Yeah, a few months. So guys, there's hope. They started this, 6 months ago, and they're already booked out a few months. So that's super, super cool. So I want to hear a little bit about some of the things that you're loving being a suite owner.
Sure. I mean, obviously the freedom that comes with it, you don't have anyone to answer to besides yourself.
Right.
That comes with a lot of responsibility, but it's nice. You can make your own hours, everything. I mean, it's up to you. You can get color when you need it. It's ultimately everything is up to you, which is so great. So.
Yes. And I think for some people that can be the perfect spot for them. I think some people are just natural born leaders, natural born entrepreneurs. But then on the other side of things, I think there's a lot of people that it's really not for them. And I think, a lot of people can go out on their own and maybe it isn't a success, or maybe they need to, more support around them or more structure. Which I think is so we're both actually opening a salon, and they're going to be commission-based salon, and I'm so excited about that. For me, I knew that that had to be my business model because I just had a certain way that I just wanted things done, and not in a micromanaging way, just in both of our brands, I think, people respect it and they love it, and I think we can give some of that freedom to stylists, but also to have more of the structure and take some of the weight off of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about commission. So what do you think, what are some of the perks that stylists can get out of a commission-based salon?
Gosh, I mean, I think you touched on it too. I think sometimes it can be not really frowned upon, but it comes with a little bit of people going like, oh, they take half your money, but it's not like that. I think with a commission-based salon, if it's run well and with good people with good intentions, it can be amazing. And the perks to that is you can provide so much for your staff, whether that's education, just healthy environments, the right staff,
amenities.
Like yeah, absolutely. There's just so much that comes with it. You get like this team building, community, and it's just so nice to have unity, in your staff. So I think that's probably the biggest thing with a commission-based salon. You have control, but in a healthy way.
Okay, perfect. So when you mentioned unity in the salon, I think that is the number one thing that I'm hearing these days that people want to see. This is what they're missing with where they're at. And so I just love that everybody is kind of switching to having a culture. And I think that is what's going to really differentiate the old commission salons from the new commission salons. So let's talk a little bit about culture. And what kind of culture are you trying to create at your salon? Who are you trying to attract?
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with, oh gosh, we can go a little further back where I think there's such a shift in our industry that's happened with Instagram. It's a good and a bad thing.
Yes.
I think with that, this major shift kind of happened where the focus is really on the stylist more than the client or the experience. And
Yes.
I really want to bring that back. I want it to be an experience for the client, but in a modern way. I mean, they know
Yes.
more about you now. They know what you're going to provide. They know what to expect because they see it on your Instagram if that's something that you put on your grid, you know?
I do think going back to the Instagram, like at my salon, it's going to be a requirement that people actually have to do Instagram. And I feel like the nice part about that is that you as a salon owner have that ability to showcase your staff, showcase what they're amazing at, and it's only going to help build everybody in that scenario. It shows your culture, it shows their specialties, so you can have happier commission stylists in your salon because they're doing what they love and they're marketing for who they want to see. So let's bring it back to when you said that a lot of stylists think, and I was naive to this at one point as well,
Sure.
but that stylists think that if you're in a commission salon, you're taking half of their money.
Automatically.
Yeah. And I want to talk a little bit about how that's so, I mean, first of all, you should because of all of the amount that you have to put in, but owning a salon is extremely expensive. So with all of the expenses that you're accruing, if you're giving them education, if you're giving them amenities, if you're booking them, you're paying for front desk staff, you're paying for furniture, you're paying for a brand new location, you're paying for marketing, you're paying for all of that, right?
Yeah.
And when it really comes down to it, I mean, being a salon owner is amazing if you're, motivated and passionate about it, but it really isn't for the money.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. I mean, when you come down to it and you're really running those numbers, and after you're paying employees, you're paying your taxes,
Color.
you have payroll taxes, you have cleaning staff, you have, I mean, besides the foils and clips and everything you need to do hair
Yes.
and color, I mean, there's so much just to support a business.
Yes.
And it's different per state, but there is so much that goes into it besides just the industry overhead of like color and, things
Yes,
like that.
and I think as a naive young stylist, I was like thinking the same thing. I'm like, well, I'm not using that much in product. I'm not using this, but I mean, there's so much that goes into it. And of course, with us both being in that same position, I think we're just learning that. And so I think it's important to talk about that with stylists so that they understand that there's a lot that, well, I think if they went on their own, I think they would find it out, right?
Yeah, and you definitely do. I mean, automatically, I didn't go out on my own because I wanted to make more money. I mean, I went on my own to figure it out how I'm going to do a salon, but in a very smaller setting.
Yes.
How am I going to run just 2 employees right now versus 15,
Yes.
So yeah, you don't, when people say go rental, you make so much more money. I don't know if they're not paying taxes or
Right.
what, but there is so much that goes into it, even just being on your own with a couple employees.
Yes, and like we were saying, it definitely has its benefit and it definitely has its
Absolutely.
place. And I'm a huge supporter of all options within the
Whatever
industry.
works.
Yes, whether you want to be an educator, whether you want to be a booth renter, whether you want to be an assistant for forever, I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep. Nope.
So now we have something else I want to talk to you about. I've been dying to hear about B-boards.
Okay.
And then I want to segue into your education after that. So let's talk about B-boards and let's find out from the creator herself what that is.
So I started out with B-boards back in my assisting days. I assisted a girl who used a board, and it was awesome. Everything was clean. I loved it. For me, it was perfect because I'm very type A and systematic when I work. I asked my husband to make me one. He just made it out of plexiglass from Home Depot, and that's kind of how it started. I wanted it, the size of a foil, as long as I needed it, all those things he could custom make for me. It wasn't until I started at my last salon and I started educating, and people would be like, hey, what are you using? Where do I buy that?
Yeah.
And I had to keep telling them, go to Home Depot and make it. I'm like, why don't I just produce this? Why don't I just get this made?
Yes.
So, fast forward to now, we outsource it. They make them for us. We order in hundreds of them, and we have sold like over 1,000 now all around the world. I mean, it's
oh
crazy.
my gosh,
It's
that's
so crazy.
amazing. And,
Yeah.
and we even have a B-board here for us. Can we check one of those out? Awesome. So this is the design of it, you guys. And I've used some boards before, and I have to say, like, this is gonna keep everything nice and tight, and like you have that pressure that you can put into them.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what I love about it. And the logo is so cute. This I love that. So simple and so cute and so on brand with everything that they do. So I love that.
Thank you.
And so not only is this girl running her own business, not only is she starting B-boards, but she's also an educator.
Yeah.
And she's traveling to Canada this very weekend
Yep.
to do so. So talk to me about what classes you specialize in and how can people get in contact to have a class with you?
Sure. I'm basically like a freelance educator.
Yeah.
I do more so not color theory, but more so just on technique. Kind of what you see on my Instagram, things
Yeah.
like that. So I like to just show what works. We're super down to earth in our classes. We show everything from the consultation to the toning, everything.
Yeah.
You know, to how to avoid mistakes if something comes up or whatever. So it's just kind of grown and grown and grown, and it's awesome. It's really cool to be able to do things like that. And you know,
Yes.
thanks to Instagram now and how our industry's grown, it's provided so many opportunities. And yeah, like you said, we're going to Canada this weekend, and then we finish off the year. We're going to Australia, which is going to be really exciting, and we're
Wow.
doing 2 classes there. So, and we're already starting our education for next year. But yeah, so to do classes, if you ever want to come to one, you can just go to my website, which is beckymillerhair.com, and click on classes, and they're all listed there.
Oh my gosh, that is so exciting. I'm definitely going to have to take a class with her because the reason why I decided to bring her on this podcast was because I was just so floored by the incredible work that she had on her Instagram, and that's how I reached out to her, and that is how we ended up today on this podcast. So that is the power of social media, you guys. It can be used for good as well as some crazy stuff, but most of the time, if you use it in the right way, it can be used for good.
Yeah.
Well, that is incredible. I'm definitely going to have you back on because I feel like I just can't get it all into this one podcast. But we'll definitely have her back on. And we go by requests for our podcast. So listeners out there, if you guys have any requests of people you want to see, topics you want to see from Becky, please post them in the comments below. And we will definitely get to that at another point. Last but not least, I want to make sure that everybody can get connected with you via social media so they can check out the amazing stuff that I'm seeing. So if you want to go ahead, share your channel with everybody, and we'll close out the show.
My Instagram handle is BeckyM_hair.
Awesome. BeckyM_hair. If you are listening to this, pull your phone out, pop up Instagram, and hit the follow button. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming
you're so welcome.
on today. It was a true pleasure. I could not come to Arizona and not make this happen for just a couple minutes, even though we're losing light. Excellent, you guys. Well, thank you so much for listening to the Beauty Breakdown podcast. It was a pleasure to have you, and we'll see you on the next one.